My name is Lauren. I'm sitting in my cozy little apartment, paintbrush in hand, looking at the canvas in front of me. The strokes are smooth and confident, a far cry from the shaky ones I used to make. It's been a while since I left that so-called home, and every day here is a reminder of my newfound freedom. A few days ago, my dad called. His voice was desperate, a far cry from the cold and demanding tone he used to have. "Lauren, we need you. Your sister can't manage the kids. Come back, this family isn't the same without you." I listened to him in silence, memories of the past flooding back. I grew up in a big, old house on the outskirts of town. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, were well known in the community. Dad was a successful businessman, always focused on his work and social status. Mom was more concerned with appearances and keeping up with the Joneses. My older sister, Emily, was their golden child. She was beautiful, popular, and always got what she wanted. For as long as I can remember, I was the family's unpaid babysitter. Whenever Emily went out, I was the one left to take care of her two kids, Tommy and Lily. I sacrificed my weekends, my evenings, and even my own dreams to be there for them. I never got so much as a thank you. Instead, I got eye rolls, complaints, and the constant reminder that I was just a helper. One night at the dinner table, the tension was thick. Dad had been in a bad mood all day, and I could tell something was coming. "Lauren," he said, his voice cold, "if you want to keep living under this roof, you'll have to start paying rent. $500 a month, starting next week." The room fell silent. Emily smirked into her glass, clearly enjoying the show. Mom just stared at her plate, pretending not to notice. I felt a knot in my stomach, but I refused to show my pain. I simply smiled, stood up, and without a word, I went to my room. I packed my bags as quickly as I could, my hands shaking with a mix of anger and determination. As I drove away that night, the headlights of my old car illuminated the dark road. The house behind me faded into the distance, along with years of unappreciated labor. At a red light, I checked my phone. There were no messages, no apologies. Just silence. That silence spoke volumes. I realized then that I was never really a part of that family. I was just a tool, a means to an end. The next morning, I found a small apartment in the city. It was nothing fancy, the floors creaked, and the cabinets were mismatched. But it was mine. I unpacked my things for the first time in my life, and with every picture I hung on the wall and every plate I put in the cabinet, I felt a sense of freedom. The first few nights in my new place were strange. The silence was almost overwhelming. There were no kids crying down the hall, no mom calling my name, and no footsteps demanding I fix something. Just the hum of the fridge and the creak of the pipes. But slowly, that silence became a comfort. I picked up extra shifts at work, and I even started painting again. It was something I had loved since high school but had given up because there was never any time. My little studio filled with color, more alive than the house I grew up in had ever been. Then, a week later, Emily texted me. "Where are you? The kids need you. Mom says you're being selfish. Just come back already." The word selfish used to hurt, but now it just made me laugh. After all I had done for her and her kids, choosing myself was suddenly a sin. I replied calmly, "I don't live there anymore. Figure it out." Her response was immediate and panicked. "You can't just abandon us. Dad's furious. Mom's crying. You'll regret this." But I didn't regret it. I was done being their doormat. By the end of the week, the messages started pouring in. Mom left me voicemails full of drama, saying I was tearing the family apart. Dad's messages were sharp and angry, telling me I'd come crawling back once I realized I couldn't make it on my own. Emily's texts shifted from demands to begging and then back to insults. "You're cruel. The kids keep asking for you. You're their second mom. How can you do this to them?" But with each message, I felt stronger. I wasn't abandoning anyone. I was taking back my life. One morning, I sent a single message in reply to all their noise. You call me the babysitter. That's not family. That's labor. Pay a nanny. After I hit send, I waited. Minutes passed, and there was no reply. For the first time, they were speechless. Days went by, and the flood of messages slowed down. A cousin texted me quietly, saying Emily was desperate and had asked her to watch the kids. Another cousin told me Mom had been telling everyone I had abandoned the family, and people were starting to talk. Let them talk. Their gossip used to be my prison, but now it was their problem. One night, Dad showed up at my apartment. His car was idling on the curb, and the headlights shone through my window. When I opened the door, his face was hard. You're making a fool of us, he said. Do you know what people are saying? That our daughter walked out and left us to rot. I crossed my arms and leaned against the doorway. Maybe you should think about why I left. His eyes hardened. Don't be dramatic. You had a roof over your head, food on the table, and a family. Now you throw it all away over a little rent? I let out a bitter laugh. It was never about the rent, Dad. It was about respect, and you never gave me any. For a moment, he opened his mouth to argue, but nothing came out. He turned around and drove off. As his tail lights disappeared, I stood in the doorway for a long time. I realized then that they weren't worried about me. They were scared of a life without me to hold everything together. A few weeks later, Emily texted me again. This time, her message was full of raw panic. The babysitter quit. The kids won't stop crying for you. I can't handle this. Please come back, Lauren. I'll pay you. Pay me. I read those words over and over. For years, I had worked for free, getting nothing but disrespect in return. Now that I was gone, suddenly my time had value. But I didn't reply. I just sat at my kitchen table and continued painting. My life was finally mine. I was free to make my own choices, to pursue my own dreams. The family barbecues, the birthdays, and the holidays went on without me, but I didn't care. I had found a new family, my friends, my art, and myself. One evening, Mom called. Her voice was weak and pleading. Lauren, we need you. Your sister is drowning. You've made your point. Now come home. Family is family. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Mom, I've thought about it for a long time. The truth is, I was never home there. I was just labor, a convenience. I was invisible. She sniffled. We didn't mean. I cut her off. You did. You all did. And I finally believe you. I hung up the phone, feeling a sense of peace. I opened my journal and wrote, family is not the people who demand you carry them. Family is the ones who walk beside you when you're carrying yourself. I closed the journal and placed it beside my newest painting, a beautiful sunset over the city. I sat back and looked around my apartment. The chaos was mine, and I embraced it. I was finally free, and I knew that the keeper of my peace would never give it away again.